திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். புழியர்கோன் வெப்பொழித்த புகழியர்கோன் கழல் போற்றி. ஆழிமிசை கல்மிதப்பில் அணைந்த பிரான் அடி போற்றி. வாழி திரு நாவலூர் வன்றொண்டர் பதம் போற்றி. ஊழிமலி திருவாத உரர் திருத்தாள் போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். So today we are continuing our discussion of 2.18 padigam. Last time we had met, we had seen up to verse number 6. So now we are going to continue from verse number 7. So Chakravarti, you can follow along with me.
Yes.
vaḻuvāḻ
vaļuvāḻ
perumāṉ kaļal vaڵga eṇa eļuvāḻ niṇaivāḻ iravum pagalum marugal uḍaiyāy marugal perumāṉ toḻuvāḻ ivaḻait tuyar ākkiṇaiyē. Good. So as we have seen in this padigam, Sambandar is addressing Shiva and saying, "Oh Shiva, how can you make this girl suffer so much?" So basically Sambandar is chiding Shiva. You are such a Lord with a lot of grace, and she is such an ardent devotee. And how can you make her suffer like this with her, the boy with whom she ran away? He is dead now, and how can you make her suffer? So that recommendation is what is there in every song, and seventh song is the same approach. So in the first 2.5 lines, Sambandar is highlighting the ardent devotion that she has, right? What great devotion this girl has. And then addresses the Lord. "Oh Lord, how can you make her suffer?" So that is the gist of the seventh song. We will look at the phrases. In the first 2 lines, he is saying that this girl is always thinking of you day and night. vaļuvāḻ perumāṉ kaļal vaļgavena eļuvāḻ. So he is saying when she wakes up, right? When we wake up from the sleep in the morning, as soon as we wake up, what is the first thought that comes to our mind? We don't know what comes to our mind. Every day it will be something else. Maybe we will hear the bird chirping outside the window, or maybe we are blaming the alarm. Why did the alarm go off so soon? We hit the snooze and want to go back to sleep. So that's how normal people behave when we wake up, depending upon what the situation is. But he's saying this girl, when she wakes up, the first thing that comes out of her mouth is, "Long live Shiva's holy feet." That is the first thing that comes out of her mouth. That's what he's saying. vaļuvāḻ perumāṉ kaļal vaļgavena eļuvāḻ. So, perumāṉ kaļal vaļga. Perumān is Swami. Kaļal is feet. Vaļga is made live long. So, that's a way in which we address our Lord. When we say something, we say, vaḻga. So vaļga, we when somebody comes and does namaskaram to us, we say, "May you live long." Right? The devotees, in their devotion, they also look at the Lord and say, "May your fame live forever." Even though he lives forever, his fame lives forever, still out of love, the devotees say such a word. In 9th tirumarugal, there is a padigam, 29th padigam, which is called the tirupallaṇ. In that whole padigam, in every song, that saint is singing, "Oh Shiva, may you live long. Oh Shiva, may you live long." Pallaṇ. Pallaṇ means many years. And that is a tradition in devotional literature to say pallaṇ to the Lord. There is pallaṇ for Vishnu also. There is pallaṇ for Shivan also. Anyway, so this girl says the word, "Perumāṉ kaļal vaļga." may Lord's holy feet be there forever. Ena. Ena means saying thus. Eḻuvāḻ. Eļuvāḻ means she wakes up. Eļu means to get up or stand up, and eļuvāḻ means she wakes up. And the first word vaļuvāḻ. Vaļuvāḻ means she never fails to say this. So vaļuvāḻ perumāṉ kaḻal vaḻga ena eļuvāḻ means she never fails to say, may the Lord's feet be there forever when she wakes up. That is the meaning of that first phrase. Vaļuvāḻ perumāṉ kaḻal vaḻga ena eļuvāḻ. And then he describes another attribute of this girl. Niṇaivāļ iravum pagalum. Iravum means ratri, pagal means daytime. So niṇaivāļ. Niṇaivāļ means she thinks. So she thinks day and night about Shiva's holy feet, about Shiva's glory, about Shiva's holy names. That's what she always thinks. We have many thoughts that comes and goes in our mind. But this girl is such a great devotee that she is always thinking of Shiva at the bottom of her heart, day and night. That's what he's saying. Niṇaivāļ iravum pagalum. So the first two lines, in this manner, he is describing the devotional level of this girl. Now, in the third line, he is addressing the Lord. And fourth line, he is saying, how can you do this to her? Marugal uḍaiyāy. Marugal means the battle axe that Shiva holds in his hand. In some Sanskritam, they call it parasu. So Marugal is parasu, the battle axe. Uḍaiyāy means one who has. O Shiva, wielding a battle axe, meaning parasupani. O parasupani is the meaning of that word, Marugal uḍaiyāy. Marugar perumāṉ. We have already seen perumāṉ means Swami. We have seen this word in many songs. Marugar perumāṉ, O Lord of tirumarugal, O Swami dwelling in tirumarugal. toḻuvāḻ ivaḻai tuyar ākkiṇaiyē. toļuvāḻ means one who worships, she who worships, ivaḻai. Ivaḻai means this girl. And I have talked about this in the previous session too. Avaḻ means somebody who is far away. Ivaḻ means somebody who is nearby. She is very near to Sambandar. So she ivaḻai. toļuvāḻ ivaḻai. This girl who always worships you, that girl, tuyar ākkiṇaiyē. You have made her suffer. You have caused her grief. Tuyar means suffering, difficulty, grief, all those, sadness, all that covers all of them. So toļuvāḻ ivaḻai, this devotee who worships you all the time, her, tuyar ākkiṇaiyē, you have made her suffer. You have caused her extreme grief. Is this appropriate for you? He doesn't say that, but in the previous songs he has said, right, tagumo means is it right? Is it proper? And in this song he doesn't say tagumo, but we have to infer it from the previous songs. So just as this girl thinks of you day and night, she wakes up uttering your holy name, she always worships you, and O Swami in tirumarugal, O parasupani, how can you cause this extreme grief to this girl? That is the gist of 7th song. Any thoughts, comments, questions? We can talk. If not, Madhuri, you can read the whole verse.
Okay. vaļuvāļ perumāṉ kaḻal vaļgi ena eļuvāļ niṇaivāļ iravum pagalum maḻuvāļ uḍaiyāy marugal perumāṉ toḻuvāļ ivaḻait tuyar ākkiṇaiyē.
Very good. So now we go to the 8th verse, and Murthy, you can follow along with me.
I'm not able to access this thing. Huh?
You're not able to? Okay, then no problem. Then we will have Madhuri follow along with me at the 8th verse.
Sure.
இலங்கைக்கு இறைவன்
இலங்கைக்கு இறைவன்
விலங்கல் எடுப்ப
விலங்கல் எடுப்ப
துலங்கவ் விரல்
துலங்கவ் விரல்
ஊன்றலும்
ஊன்றலும்
தோன்றலனாய்
தோன்றலனாய்
வலங்கொள்
வளங்கொள்
மதில் சூழ்
மதில் சூழ்
மருகற் பெருமான்
மருகல் பெருமான்
அலங்கல் இவளை
அலங்கல் இவளை
அலர் ākkiṇaiyē.
அலர் ākkiṇaiyē.
Good. So in the 8th song, it is continuing the same theme, and this is Sambandar's padigam. So in the 8th song, he usually refers to Ravana getting crushed under Kailasam. So that is what he is referring in the first 2 lines about Ravana getting crushed under Kailasa mountain. And in the 4th line, he is saying, this beautiful girl, you have caused her to be the target of slander. Okay, and that is the general gist. So if you look at the words, ilaṅgaikku iṛaivaṉ. Ilangai is Lanka. In Tamil, the sound la doesn't come in the beginning of a word. So when those Sanskritam words with la or ra come in the beginning of the word, in Tamil they put a vowel. A, I, U. One of those vowels will be added. So Lanka in Tamil becomes Ilangai. So Ilangaikku iṛaivaṉ. Iṛaivaṉ is usually iṛaivaṉ we use for Lord, Swami, but it also refers to king. So the word, like as you know, the word iṛaivaṉ has multiple meanings. One of them is, our most common meaning is the Swami, a Lord, but next meaning is a king. So Ilangaikku iṛaivaṉ means the king of Lanka, which is Ravana. Vilangal eduppa. Vilangal means mountain. You know, in our languages, usually there will be many words which refer to hill or a mountain. You know, the most common word in Tamil for a hill or a mountain is Malai. We have seen that in other places. And that's the word that comes in Tirumala, Tirupati, right? The Tirumalai, the Malai is hill. And but in our languages, we have multiple words for multiple words which refer to the same object. So depending in the poetry, depending on the context, depending on the meter, sometimes depending on the nuance that they want to communicate, they use one of those synonyms. So Malai is one word, common word, and in Thevaram you would have come across other words like Varai, Undru, Vilangal, Silai, etc. So here the word Vilangal is used, meaning mountain or a hill. So Ilangaikku iṛaivaṉ, Vilangal eduppa. Edu means to pick up. So Ravana, we know what he did. He went, his chariot was blocked by Kailasam, so he decided to throw away Kailasa mountain because he was so big and so strong and powerful. He could do that. So he put all his 20 hands under the mountain and started pulling it up so that he could throw it. And that way, when he did that, of course, Shiva put his big toe gently down and crushed Ravana under the mountain. So all his arms, right? Many of his arms got caught under the mountain. He couldn't take out his hands. So he was stuck there and he was suffering for many, many, many years. And finally he was given advice, and then he started praying to Shiva, and then Shiva decided to let him go. That story is what he's referring to. Vilangal eduppa, when he lifted the mountain. Edu means to pick up. When he picked up the Kailasa mountain. Tulanga viral ūnralum. Shiva pressed that big toe of his foot, right? Tulanga means bright or shiny. Viral is finger. Here it refers to the toe. Undral means to press down. When Shiva pressed down is bright big toe. Tondralanai. Tondrudal means to, when something comes to our mind, we say, oh, I thought of this. Okay, it came to my mind. When he was stuck under the mountain, he was crying and suffering and in pain and all that. And he did not know what to do. That's what. He did not know what to do is what is meant by the word Tondralanai. Nothing came to his mind how to escape this trouble. Tondralanai. Finally, he got advice from a rishi. Prayed to Shiva. He is a merciful Lord. He will forgive you and let you go. So then Ravana started praising Shiva. And you know that story, right? Ravana wanted to have he was going to sing, but he had no accompanying instrument. You need Shruti, right? When you want to sing something, you need a Shruti or accompanying instrument and all that. So he plucked one of his heads, his own head. He plucked one of his own arms and put the nerves from that arm and attached it to the head and made it to a veena. And he played that veena and sang Samaganam. And finally Shiva took pity on him and let him go. And gave him boons. He gave him the name, he gave him a long life, he gave him a Chandrahasam, a powerful sword. So he gave all that. And then Ravana, of course, the mountain that he was going to throw away, now he does pradakshanam of the mountain. Valangol. Valangol means one who does pradakshanam. Valam is to go around. Valangol is to do pradakshanam. So the first 2.5 lines refers to the story of Ravana lifting Kailasa mountain, getting crushed under it, and then finally going around the Kailasa mountain to worship Shiva. And then now it comes to the girl's story. Madil Sool Marugar perumāṉ. Madil means fortress or a wall. Madil Sool means that surrounds. In all our temples, you know that there is a big fortified wall around the temple. There is a gopuram entrance, but all around the temple there will be a tall wall, like a fort. That is called the Madil. Sool means that surrounds. So Madil Sool means the fortified walls surrounding Marugal. That's what it refers to. Madil Sool Marugal. So that temple, and perumāṉ is Swami. O Swami, dwelling in Marugal temple that is surrounded by fortified walls. That's the meaning of the phrase Madil Sool Marugar perumāṉ. O Swami in Marugal, Alangal ivaḻai. Alangal means garland in Tamil. Okay, there is several words for garland. Malai is the most common word. There are other types of garlands. Tar is another one. Kanni is another one. Alangal is another one. So here he is using the word Alangal. Alangal ivaḻai. This girl who is like a garland or that kind of a girl here, because she was going to get married, right? She came away with this boy so that they can get married. So he is referring to that indirectly. Alangal ivaḻai. The girl who is going to wear a garland, the garland like girl, this girl, ivaḻai, alar ākkiṇaiyē. Alar in Tamil has several meanings. Here the meaning is slander. When this is more common in villages, where you are like somebody does something and then especially if it is something people will talk about that. Oh, what she did? She did such and such thing, and then the whole village will be talking about that. So that is the kind of slander. So they will all be talking badly about this girl. So now the town is going to wake up and come out and see that, this girl ran away with this guy and he is dead now, and they will be saying, what kind of girl is she that who ran away with him? That kind of thing. So, Sambandar is telling Shiva, oh Shiva, a garland-like girl, a gentle girl, a good girl, a girl who was going to wear a garland, that girl, you have made her subject of slander by the tongue. ākkiṇaiyē. You made her subject of slander. Is this right? He doesn't ask the word, is it tagumo? But we know from the previous songs that is it tagumo is there implicitly. So he's asking Shiva, is it right that you have caused the target of slander of this town? That is a direct meaning of the 8th song. Any comments, questions? We can talk. If not, Chakravarti, you can read the whole verse.
Yeah. ilaṅgaikku iṛaivaṉ vilaṅgal edupat துலங்க விரல் ஒன்றுலும் தொன்றலனாய் வலங்கோல் மதில் சூழ் marugal perumāṉ அலங்கல் இவளை அலர் ākkiṇaiyē.
Good.
ākkiṇaiyē.
Alar ākkiṇaiyē.
Alar ākkiṇaiyē.
Now, since today between you and Madhuri, we are going to be switching back and forth, so you can continue reading the 9th verse with me.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I have the access now.
Oh, Murthy has access. Okay, we will have Murthy then. Eriyar sadayum adiyum iruvar தெரியாதது ஓர் tīt-tiraḻ ஆயவனே மரியார் பிரியா மருகல் பெருமான் அறியாள் இவளை அயர்வு ākkiṇaiyē. Good. So here again this is the 9th verse. So Sambandar is referring to Brahma and Vishnu trying to seek the top and bottom of the endless column of fire that was Shiva. He refers to that story. And then he is saying, how can you make this girl suffer like this? Eriyar sadayum adiyum. Eri means fire. So when Shiva stood as the endless column of light, right? That jyoti, endless jyoti. That is what is referring to. Eri or sadayum. Eri means fire. Sadai is jata. And R is a comparison verb. Eri or sadai means the jata that is like fire. Yeah. Why is it referred as jata that is like fire? Because Shiva's matted locks, they are not black in color. Even though in today's paintings, many people draw the paintings like Shiva having a dark hair, that is not right. The traditional description of Shiva describes his hair as golden in color, reddish in color. That is what Sambandar is referring here. Eri or sadai means the jata that is like fire, means reddish in color. So the reddish jata and adi means feet. Iruvar means the two. The two here refers to Brahma and Vishnu. Theriyadadu means they could not see, they could not reach, they could not know. Theriyadadu or tīt-tiraḻ. Or is tīt-tiraḻ is a column of fire. Tī is fire, tiraḻ is bundle. Āyavane means you wear. So the gist of the first two lines is that, O Shiva, who stood as an endless column of fire, that when the two, Brahma and Vishnu, try to seek the feet and the top. The top that is the jata, the top that has the jata, which is reddish in color like flames of fire, that jata, and the holy feet that Brahma and Vishnu tried to see, but they could not see. You stood as that column of fire. So that is how he is describing Shiva, addressing Shiva in the first two lines. O Shiva, who stood as a column of fire, who could not be seen by Brahma and Vishnu. Then he says, Mariyar Piriya Marugar Perumāṉ. Mariyar. Mariyar is an interesting word in this thing, because it can be interpreted in more than one way. One marital in one common word is that those who death. Marital is to die. So Mariyar is those who don't die. So Mariyar Piriya means those who don't die never leave this marugal. What does it mean? Meaning people who are Jivan Muktas. There are great Jivan Muktas who live in marugal. That's what is referring. Mariyar means the Jivan Muktas. Piriya means who never leave marugal. So the marugal where Jivan Muktas live. That is the meaning of the word Mariyar Piriya Marugal. That is one way of interpreting it. Other is Mariyar if you look at a different root of that word, it can mean that the great devotees, those who follow. So marugal means to be associated with or to be joined with. So Mariyar means those who are deeply devoted to you, those kind of devotees. Piriya means those who don't live. So basically the marugal where great devotees live. So we can interpret it both ways. Whichever is appropriate for us, we can take. Mariyar Piriya Marugar Perumāṉ. O Lord dwelling in that marugal, Ariyaḻ ivaḻai ayarvu ākkiṇaiyē. Ariyaḻ is a rare girl. This girl, she's a gem. When we say there are thousands of people like him, and we say he is one in a million. Like that, he is saying this girl is a gem. She is one in a million kind of a devotee. Ariyaḻ ivaḻai, this girl, ayarvu ākkiṇaiyē. Ayarvu means to be wary, to faint and all that, right? Because she fainted down. She was in such a grief and shock that she faints down. Then after some time she gets up and then looks at the gopuram and again she cries. And again she couldn't stand, so she falls on the floor and cries. So that kind of a situation is what she is experiencing. That's what he's saying. That is ayarvu. So this rare devotee, this girl, and what have you done to her? You have made her faint and suffer like this. Is this right for you? So that's what he is saying in that. So any comments, questions? We can talk now. So maybe Madhuri, you can read the whole verse.
Okay. Eriyar sadayum adiyum iruvar theriyadatu or tīt-tiraḻ ayavane Mariyar Piriya Marugal Perumāṉ Ariyaḻ ivaḻai ayarvu ākkiṇaiyē.
Good. So maybe you can read the 10th verse with me.
Okay.
Arivil samanum.
Arivu ilus arivu.
Yeah. I was okay, let me read it. Arivil samanum.
Arivu il samanum.
Alar
sakiyarum.
Neri allana.
Seithanar.
Niன்று
உழல்வார்.
மறியேந்து கையாய். மருகல் பெருமான். நெறியார் குழலி. iṛaivaṉ.
niṇaivāḻ.
Good. So, Sambandar is saying again in this song, the 10th verse, he condemns Buddhism and Jainism. That's what he is saying here. Arivu il samanum. Arivu means knowledge, wisdom. Okay. Il means without, not having. Saman is Jainism or the Jains. So Arivu il samanum. The Jains who don't have wisdom, those who don't have smart, good intellect, that Jains, and alar sakyarum. Alar we have seen, right? The previous song we came across the word alar. Alar means to speak badly, to slander. So the Sakyar means the Buddhists. And here, the other word of alar, there is also another interpretation that we can do, right? One of them is what I was saying, right? Those who are slandering the Jains who are short of intellect, and the Buddhists who are slandering. So you can interpret that way, or you can, alar Sakyar means those Buddhists who are spread all over. Alar, if you take a different meaning of that word, alardal means to spread out. So the Jains and the Buddhists who are lacking good intellect and who are everywhere, what are they doing? Neri allana seidanar. Neri means the proper path, dharma, right? The neri means path. And also what is proper. So they do things which are not proper. Neri allana seidanar. They don't do the right things. Neri is right, allana is that are not. So seidanar is they do. So the Jains and the Buddhists are doing things that are not proper. Niṇaivāḻ. They are, uḍaiyāy means to roam around, to suffer and all that. So that's the meaning of that. So they don't do the right things, and so they roam around and suffer. That's the meaning of that. Now the third line refers to Shiva, and the fourth line says, how can you make her suffer? Mari yendu kayyāy. Mari means the baby deer, right? When we have we have the young of an animal, we have different words for them, right? The goat and the deer, there are different kinds of things. Mari is a general word which means a young animal. Here it refers to the young of a deer. So Shiva is holding in his one hand a deer. He is holding the back two legs of the deer. So that's what he's referring to. O Shiva holding a young deer. Marugal perumāṉ. O Lord of tirumarugal. Neri ar kuழலி niṇaivāḻ. The neri in the fourth line refers to curliness of the hair. Okay, neri, as I mentioned, there are words which will have several meanings, and depending on the context, we have to interpret the right meaning. So the neri comes in the second line and in the fourth line. The second line, it refers to the proper conduct, dharma, proper path, and all that. In the fourth line, the neri refers to the curliness of the hair, wavy hair, curly hair. That's what he's describing here. Neri ar kuழலி. Kuழல் is, the woman's hair is called kuழல், and kuழலி is a girl who has that kind of hair, and that hair is curly. Neri ar kuழல், curly hair. Neri ar kuழலி is the girl with curly hair. This girl, niṇaivāḻ. Nirai is the evenness of the mind. When we are composed in our mind, we say nirai. Whatever happens, we are satisfied, we are at peace and all that, right? That is the mental state, nirai. And what has Shiva done now? By having this guy, the boy, being bitten by a cobra and he is dead now. Now, because of that, this girl's mental peace is gone. So, O Shiva, you have destroyed the mental peace of this girl. Is this right? That's what he is saying in the 10th song. So, we can have, Murthy, you can read the whole verse.
Yeah. Arivil Samanum Alar Sakkiyarum Neri Allana Seidnar Nindru Uļilvār Uழல்வார் மறியேந்து கையாய் மருகல் பெருமான் நெறி ஆர் குழலி நிறை நிக்கினையே.
Good. Chakravarti, you can repeat with me the 11th verse.
Yeah.
Vayañānam vallaar.
Vayañānam vallaar.
Marugal perumāṉ.
Marugal perumāṉ.
உயர் ஞானம் உணர்ந்து.
உயர் ஞானம் உணர்ந்து.
அடி உள்குதலால்.
அடி உள்குதலால்.
இயல் ஞான. சம்பந்தன. பாடல் வல்லார். வியன் ஞானம் எல்லாம். வியன் ஞானம் எல்லாம். வியன் ஞானம்
இல்லா. Yeah. Can you repeat?
Okay, that's okay. With practice you will get that. வியன் ஞானம் எல்லாம்.
வியன் ஞானம் எல்லாம்.
விளங்கும் புகழே. Good. So this is the final song of this padigam. And as you know, in Sambandar's final song of padigams, he will refer to the sthalam and the Swami on whom he has sung this padigam. He will refer to himself. I am Sambandan of so and so background or so and so place or so and so nature. And I have sung this padigam, and those who sing this padigam will get this benefit that he will mention in his final song. That's what he is saying here. Vaya Jnanam Vallar. Jnanam comes in the 3 lines here. Jnanam is the Sanskritam word, knowledge, wisdom, etc. Vaya Jnanam Vallar. Vaya Jnanam means, the Jnanam of Swami, right? It's a great Jnanam. You can say that. This is a complex word here, but we can say that those who are the wise men. Even if you ignore the Vaya, basically people of great wisdom. Vaya Jnanam Vallar. People of great wisdom, they live in Marugal. So in those days, some of the sthalams, right, the kshetrams, they had a lot of Vedic scholars, and they had other scholars and great devotees. So there were a lot of eminent people living in those kshetrams. So that's what it's referring to. The Marugal, where great wise men live. That's what it refers to. Vaya Jnanam Vallar Marugal. So people of great wisdom live in Marugal. In that Marugal, Marugal perumāṉ, the Swami of that Marugal town, on that Swami, Sambandar has sung this padigam. That's what he's saying. Uyar ஞானம் உணர்ந்து அடி உள்குதலால். So Sambandar has meditated on this Lord of this Marugal. That's what he's saying. Uyar ஞானம் உணர்ந்து. He has got uyar ஞானம் means very high wisdom. So great jnanam. Uyar jnanam. Uyarda means very exalted, very eminent, very great. So that great jnanam, unardal means experiencing, to have. Adi ulgudalal. Adi is holy feet. Ulgudal means to meditate on the feet. So Sambandar is referring to himself. I Sambandan, who has got this great wisdom, and because of that great wisdom, I am meditating on the holy feet of Shiva. That's what that second line says in a gist. Iyal jnana Sambandar. Iyal means because of that, I have, iyal is like in this case. who is like Shiva. Because when we have the jnana of Shiva, we become like Shiva. That level. That's what he's saying. Yel jnana Sambandar. Because of that, Shiva like Sambandan is what he's saying here. Okay. Jnana Sambandana. Sambandana means of Sambandan. Pāḍal. These songs, those who recite. So, those who recite these songs sung by Tirujnana Sambandar, who has reached a very high state like Shiva. That's what that line says. And those who recite this padigam, what will they get? Viyan ஞாலம் எல்லாம் விளங்கும் புகழே. ஞாலம் means world. Viyan ஞாலம் is this big world. This big world, எல்லாம், everywhere. விளங்கும் புகழே. Pugal is fame, glory. Vilangum means will be well known, will be well established. So the last line says, those devotees who recite this padigam will be well known all over this world. That's the meaning of that. Their fame will spread all over this world. So this padigam, those who recite will get great fame. That's a gist of that summary. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this padigam, Sambandar sings when he heard the lament of this girl. And in this padigam, he is addressing Shiva. Oh Shiva, how can you do this to this girl? That is a theme that we saw in every song of this padigam. And by the time we finish this padigam, with Shiva's grace, that dead person, that dead man, he comes back to life. You know, the snake bit him around midnight. So he was dead for 5-6 hours. Now, because of Sambandar's padigam, Shiva's grace, that dead guy wakes up, gets up as if he was waking up from sleep. Then they both fall at Sambandar's feet, and Sambandar blesses them, and Sambandar gets them married on that day itself in that marugal temple, and blesses them as a happy married couple. That is the gist of this padigam. Now, maybe Murthy, you can read the whole 11th verse, and then we can conclude today's session.
வயஞானம் வல்லார் மருகல் பெருமான் உயர் ஞானம் உணர்ந்து அடி உள்ளுதலால் இயல் ஞான சம்பந்தன பாடல் வல்லார் வியன் ஞாலம் எல்லாம் விளங்கும் புகழே.
Good. So we have concluded the padigam. So if you want, we can discuss any comments or thoughts you have on this padigam, or if you want, you can listen to the oḍaiyāy singing this padigam. What do you want?
Yeah, we'll listen to the oḍaiyāy singing.
Good. Okay. Give me a second. I will share the audio. So with that, we will conclude